Don't play with it, don't play with it, don't play with it.
Happy holidays. It's me, Slayed by Jordan.
I just want a roughneck nigga on the tongue. You just wanna send me automatic with a drum. Ask me if I'm finished now, nah, I just begun. I ain't giving out no nutty to no nigga just for fun. Are you done?
All right, y'all. Today we'll be working with Curlsqueen hair. Let's first look at the goodies that came in our beautiful box. Curlsqueen sent over 2 bundles of their 20-inch Light Yaki hair. Their bundles are luxurious than regular bundles because their bundles are 150 grams per bundles. So you only need 2 bundles to do a full install. We're going to do this full voluminous install today only using 2 bundles, 150 grams on each bundle of their Light Yaki 20-inch hair. Let's get started with this install. We have the lovely Naisha modeling this hair today, so let's get started. We're going to do a side part sewing today, so first what I'm going to do is part her side part. I like to do a curved part, and then we're going to section out the leave out on both sides. I'm also going to leave out a few of her edges because she likes to do baby hairs, and as you can see, they are a little thin, so we're going to do baby hairs to give an illusion of a fuller look. For her braid pattern today, we're going to do 2 beehives, so I'm splitting her hair into 2 halves, and we're going to braid her hair in 2 circles on each side. I always like to start off the beginning of my braids with some braiding hair just to make sure the foundation is strong. And like I said previously, we're going to do 2 circles of braids on each side, which is called the beehive braid pattern method. We are now working on our second beehive, and you're going to take the tail from your first beehive and add it on in, and you're going to continue braiding in a circle. This is the best braid pattern method for sew-ins because, well, number one, it's flat. So if your client has a lot of hair, you're going to get this hair flat using this method. And two, it's a strong foundation that does not have a lot of tension compared to the traditional method of just braiding everything straight down from the part and adding the ends into each braid. This is going to give you a less tension, stronger foundation, flat foundation. This is the OG sew-in braid pattern method. All the OGs know this is the best braid pattern that you can do for a sew-in. It's going to be flat, neat, and strong. We are now done braiding, and I like to sew the tail of the braid using blonde thread just so your client or the person who the install is actually on knows exactly what is thread and what is their hair. That way we don't cut any of our hair underneath. I sewed a stretchable net on her braid pattern off camera, and now we're going to get started with our install. We're going to begin sewing our tracks in. Make sure that you sew your first track underneath the braid. That way, when the wind blows or if your client wants to put it in a ponytail, they won't see any braids whatsoever. Personally, for me, I like to push my needle through both of the wefts. Or you can go underneath the wefts, like directly where the wefts stop at. It's just whatever you prefer. Sometimes I go underneath the wefts. Sometimes I go through the wefts. It's just personal preference. Whatever you do, whenever you push the needle through, wrap the thread around the needle twice and pull it through. It's gonna create a knot every time you do a stitch, and you're gonna have a very secure sew-in. Being that she likes hair in her face, I'm going to sew that bundle up pretty far up on her face before I fold it. If you don't like hair in your face, just do the normal side-by-side method. I'm going to show you closer how I flip the tracks. So what I do is I drop one track, continue sewing just one single track at a time, and then I fold that single track over and I make a stitch right at that fold, and I continue sewing that single track about 1 or 2 stitches, and then we're going to pick up both of the tracks again, and we're going to continue sewing both of the tracks at the same time. When I fold my tracks over, I always drop one track. This is to ensure that you have a flat install. Now we're going to attach our last bundle. You want to push that needle through the wefts of both of the tracks because we're sewing double wefts at a time. And once you do that, you're going to continue stitching as regular. We are now on our last bundle, and we're going to use this last bundle to close out this sewing, and I'm going to show you exactly how. Still using our double wefts, we're going to go ahead and close this sewing up on this side. Once you get to that very last braid at the top that you're going to sew your last track on, you want to do a micro stitch, which means you want to stitch your stitches very close together just to make sure everything is secure and that it lays flat. And before we finish sewing this track in, I'm going to cut off one of the tracks just to ensure once we're sewing at the very beginning of that braid that it is flat. One thing about me, I'm going to show you how to do a secure install, but it needs to still be flat. And look at that, everything is flat, everything is secure, it is not going anywhere. And now we're gonna finish flipping over this track on the other side, and we're gonna close it out as well. I'm gonna show you how I do that as well. It's the same process like we were doing before. Once we get to flipping the tracks over, we're gonna do our micro stitches. And before we close out this install at the back of her leave out, make sure you cut off one of those tracks so you can have a single welt. And we're gonna finish doing our micro stitches and then we'll be done, you all. To blend her leave out, I'm going to go in with my hot comb all the way through, and then I'm going to use my 1-inch flat irons to press everything out. Before I press the hair out, I am going to spray a heat protectant on the hair. Off camera, I took my high hole hairspray and my edge brush just to mold her edges into place, and I also sprayed some on her Leaveout just to make sure that blend game is on point. And as you can see, her natural hair blends in perfectly with these Light Yaki bundles. Now we're going to get into our layers today. I like to start at the chin on both sides and just cut diagonally down. This is going to make the hair end up in a V or U shape. Now we're going to add our interior layers. I like to pull the hair out, and about midway, I'm just going to start cutting diagonally downward. This is going to give you a lot of layers. Do not do this on your hair if your bundles are not full. If you do this, your hair is going to look a hot mess. Now with Curlsqueen hair, although this is 2 bundles, you can actually do this because their bundles are super full and will give you a voluminous look. We are now done with our layers, so let's get into curling. I'll be using my T3 1.5 inch curling iron, and we're gonna curl the hair going upwards. I usually curl the hair downwards, but for this peacock curl, feathered curl look, we're gonna curl all the hair upwards to the sky. And then we're gonna pin it after we drop it off the curling iron. Now for our bang piece, we're gonna curl that regular. We're not gonna curl that upwards. We're gonna curl that regular downwards to the side just to give that feathered bang look. But everything else, like I said previously, you're gonna curl upward. But the bang piece, you're gonna curl as normal. After letting our curls sit for about 15 to 20 minutes to cool off, we're now going to take out our pin curls and we're going to comb the hair out and finish styling. Do y'all see this hair? Like, let's really get into all the details. Like, oh my gosh, shout out to Curlsqueen hair, but let me show y'all the final look. Happy holidays. I love you all. Goodbye.